Well, we know there is no death. When it comes to spiritual principles and Christ consciousness, there is no death. There's just a changing of matter into a new form of matter. And that's the universal law. We see it differently because we see a very slowed down version of this whole process. And we know in our hearts. A scripture that comes to me that I'd like to give you is in Hebrews 11. It says, "And they, that we are compassed with such a cloud of witnesses." That's talking about all those that have gone on into the spiritual side of things. That we're compassed with them around us, for they without us cannot be made perfect. So the veil is very thin. I know in traditional Christianity I was raised in, they were very much against what they called necromancy in the Old Testament, which is talking to the dead. And they didn't believe in that. People who had said they had access to those on the other side, that was against the law and one of the abominations. But the thing they don't realize that probably it wasn't good to do that until the door was opened. That's why Christ said, "I'm the door." The door was opened between the physical and the spiritual world. And now there was a way to begin to communicate with him. And I said to them, let me tell you something. When I talk to those of my ancestors that have gone on, I'm not talking to the dead, but on Sunday morning I do. And they're sitting out there in physical bodies most of the time. So who's to say what is death, what is life? There is no disruption. But we have human feelings and emotions and attachments that are very real to us, and we must be allowed to go through that process of feeling those things. So I just appreciate you coming today and doing what you did. It showed great faith on your part. And I'll tell you, when they get out of the body on the other side, they see a lot of things differently. And you're going to feel that shift. As he shifts over there, so are you going to shift. As you experience that retuning of the relationship, not based upon physical bodies, but heart to heart, spirit to spirit, life to life, that way. I do want to read something that I was going to read if I was going to have to do this, and I just happened to have this, and I thought, maybe I'm supposed to read this. It's a quote by Marianne Williamson. How many here know who Marianne Williamson is? How do you know that she's running for president of the United States? I am a supporter of hers monthly, financially. She's not getting the press, of course, that she should get, but her message is the only hope for America and the world is a transformation of the soul of America. And I like that idea that you got to start from a soul level than trying to fix all of the laws and all of the do's and the don'ts. It's not working. We got to go deep into the soul, into the pain body of America. The pain body is showing up, and at the same time it's showing up, there's a clarion call for light workers. It wouldn't be showing up if it wasn't going to call forth those that was going to be able to be equipped to heal the pain body of America. So I again call upon you who have the desire in you and say, I want to know more about frequency, vibration, working with energy, all of the things that many of you already do, but some of you just still feel that maybe you would like to connect to that world of being able to use energy and sound and vibration and color and all these elements that are available to us today and tools that are available to us today to be able to further this transformation along, because it is a very intense time in which the calling is becoming even more intense. So you that are interested in what we do, I invite you to come and be a part of the workshop on that Saturday morning. Would be great. Here's what Marianne says. And you have to think about this, because this is something that's going to go past your mental, your brain. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. Oh, not me. No, I can't do anything. No, I'm not trained in anything. No, I don't have a gift of any kind. No, I don't have a talent of any kind. I just think I'll just kind of slide through with the masses. No, every one of you have been given a specific calling, and that calling is being activated in all of us. Don't look at the way the world recognizes us in the sense of degrees and labels and titles and all those things that make the rest feel small because they don't have those initials behind their name and all of that. That means nothing. That means nothing. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I give you that as contemplation today. Contemplate that playing small does not serve anyone. Now, I'm not talking about the ego's version. The ego's version can be rather obnoxious to be around. I'm not talking about that kind, but I'm talking about your place in this wonderful spiritual identity that has been offered to us, that we are the children of God. I told them this morning in the class, one of my favorite verses in all the Bible that has meant a lot to me. There's just certain ones, but Romans 8 is one of them that says the whole world is groaning and on tiptoe waiting for the manifestation of the children of God. Didn't say the children of God. It said the manifestation of the children of God. So I'm going to kind of just tag into this morning, as I was talking there, that we can say by faith we are perfect. We can say by faith that we are the attributes of that which Creator is, so are we. But an outsider walking in here would really question that, because they're going to view what we're saying and filter it through the five senses. So they're going to say, well, if you're perfect, where is it? If you are whole, where's your wholeness? If you have joy, where's your joyfulness? If you are love, where's your lovingness? If you are peace, where is your peacefulness? If you are light, why isn't it shining? And I'll give him a simple illustration that as a young man visiting my grandmother in the summer, that she wanted a new dress really bad. And my step-grandfather, who was a man, was very frugal and did not want her to buy the dress. That's the way it was in those days. And did not allow her to do it. But she had saved up enough money to go to the store and to buy everything that she needed to make a dress. She couldn't go buy the product. She couldn't manifest it already done, but she had the ability. She was a great seamstress. She sewed well. She was a part of the ladies' quilting group at the Methodist Church. And I remember all these things. She was very creative. So she had that creativity innately within her, as you do. We all have creativity because we are that of the Creator. And so she had enough to go to the store, and she bought a pattern, and she bought cloth, and she bought thread, and she bought scissors, and everything that she needed. She was complete. Where's the dress? So she started working, and I remember her being in the living room on the floor, and she was cutting out, and she had patterns here, and she had cloth, and she had everything strung out, and it was just a disaster. And my grandfather came home unexpectedly and says, "What is this mess?" And she said, "Well, I know it looks like a mess, but you just wait." Because she had a plan. She had a vision. Without a vision, the people perish. He didn't have the vision. So all that he saw with his five senses is this pile of stuff that meant nothing. But in her mind, she knew she was now complete. She had everything that is needed. Not one thing could be added nor taken away to all that she had accumulated. And she gave it over to her creative mind. The mind began to create it. And she made a dress. Now, being complete allowed her to be completed. But she had to be complete to be completed, just as you have to be created perfect to become perfection. Are you getting me? You have to be created as love. Then you can be, through nature, lovingly. You don't have to act out love. The worst thing that there is to know and discern that somebody is just acting it out, but it's not coming from their nature, from their heart. Your dog knows that. Jordan knows that. Babies know that. The only people that are going to be fooled are adults most of the time, because we learn to base reality on the things of the five senses that we see, that we hear, that we smell, that we touch, that we taste, so on and so forth. So she made this dress for this event that they were going to on a Saturday night, and she had came out this beautiful dress, and my grandfather said, "What a beautiful dress. Where'd you get that? I've never seen that before." "I know you didn't go out and buy the dress because I told you not to do that." She said, "Well, what you didn't tell me not to do was to buy everything to make the dress. And I had just enough." Oh, somebody hear me today. She wasn't rich and had huge amounts of money, but she had enough. I want you to know, Spirit is saying today, you got enough. You got enough. You got everything you need. I've equipped you. I have given to you. It is finished, was the great message of Jesus. It is finished. In my grandmother's mind, it was finished. She didn't need to go buy one new pattern, one bit of thread. Everything had been accumulated that was needed. She was complete in her mind, and she knew she had it to create and manifest it as the dress. And my grandfather, being nice for him, complimented her on the dress. And she said, "Yeah, by the way, you know that mess you came home to the other day? I'm wearing it." And I used to do a sermon on, you can be a mess and still be complete. You don't have to look perfect today. Everything doesn't have to be exactly the way that you want it. And you don't have to do it by your works. And you don't have to learn spirituality as a costume. You don't have to put it on. It's not your facade. It is not your mask. It is not a religious garment that you put on when you come in the door on Sunday morning and then hang it up when you leave here. But it's something that is inside of you. You are complete. But it's time to remove the blockages so it can become completion made manifest to the world. For the world is groaning and on tiptoe waiting for the manifestation of the children of God. Amen. Again, I say not the children. That's not you they're looking for. They're looking for love as you. They're looking for peace as you. They're looking for joy as you. They're looking to show you that the divine, beautiful creation of health can be manifested as the health of your body. That's different than healing. Healers want to fix what's broken. Energy workers want to remove the blocks and allow that which is created whole to be made manifest. When the world sees this, there will be a shift as you've never seen before. This whole realm that we represent here and all around the world, we weren't brought out to become another religion per se. We did not come to be a people who are teaching things that have to remain in the unseen world. I think it puts it very well in Hebrews when it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence, hear me, the evidence of things not seen. So we don't want people just coming in here and hearing this positive message of, I'm created whole and I'm created this and love and all of that. They're not looking for another message. They're not looking for another belief system. They're looking for manifestation. Where is it? Religion knew that they was not able to manifest it based upon the teachings and how they taught, so they had to put it in the afterlife. Can't have it here, so you have to die and go to it, into heaven. But that's not what is taught by the Master. The Master taught the kingdom of God is within you, the kingdom of God is among you. And this whole idea of heaven was not a place you go to, but is a place in you that you recognize. It is the elevated places of higher states of consciousness. It is the ability to remember who we are. This Wednesday begins a new series of teachings that I want to talk to you about because it's going to stretch you a little bit, but I think it's time to be stretched. I think it's time to examine and explore some of the more unfamiliar territories that Spirit is opening up to us to stretch our mind and to stretch our experiences a little bit. I'm convinced and have been convinced for a long time that many of the answers that we're all seeking for in communities and spirituality is not going to be found within just the third dimension space-time. And if these things are accomplished and complete, then we have to look at where we can experience that completion and where it happens. So quantum jumping is based upon spirituality as well as a quantum physics and a different way of looking at ourselves. First of all, we speak to the universe as a synonym for God. The universe wants this. The universe did this. Well, the challenge of that is we believe, and I'm sure most of you agree, that God is infinite. Correct? That means God has no beginning or no end. So then how can you put that which is infinite into a universe that is finite? And we know that. We know the universe. We've now discovered the very end of the universe where the Big Bang happened. Has been scientifically proved. The radiation of the Big Bang is still recorded in the outskirts of this universe that we occupy. So how are you going to put an infinite being, energy, consciousness, into that which is finite? It will not work. So wouldn't it make sense that if you're going to have an infinite being, you're going to have infinite universes? Can't have one. You're going to have infinite universes. And that's what we're on the cusp of proving today, that we are shifting from even the word universe to the word multiverse. You that are reading newer books about quantum physics and things will find this word more and more, the multiverse, meaning that we are just one universe in the midst of infinite universes. Some of the great scientists of our time says such things as there are hundreds of different radio waves being broadcast around you from distant stations. Now, I don't know if I got a television. I don't know how many stations we have, but a lot more than I need. Hundreds and hundreds of these stations. And these stations are actually accessible at the same time in the space in which I live. Hundreds of stations, each station representing a vibration or frequency, is existing in my space. The question is then, how many frequencies, dimensions, our universes are vibrationally through frequency existing in your space? So I go in and I want to watch a certain show, and I have to find that frequency or vibration. And if I have the frequency and put it in, then I manifest that one station, one show, one channel. Now, does that mean the others don't exist? Of course not. They're just as much exist as the one that I've manifested. The only difference is they're unmanifest, I'm manifested. If I change my frequency, I can go to another station. And here's the cool thing, is I've got certain actors and actresses that I really like, and they'll be on this show, and they'll be the villain. I'll go over here and change the frequency, and they're on this show, and they're the hero and the heroine. All at the same time. What this is going to cause us is to revisit reincarnation. Yes, reincarnation as we know it and believe it, many of us, is real because of the fact that we see it and translate it in linear space-time. Let me give you an example. I'm Steven Spielberg, and I get this tremendous new movie in my head. I've got it. I see it. I see the beginning. I see how it's going to happen. I see how it's going to end. The whole thing is in me vertically. I got the whole story. But I can't give it to you vertically. I'm going to have to lay it down frame by frame so that you can see what I know vertically is now going to have to be put out into different frames and played out. This is the same thing. Everything that has been created in God is vertical. It is in that moment. Of course, the miracle calls the holy instant. All creation took place. The Big Bang. From a quantum level, a big bang happened. And everything that ever is shall be. Everything that ever was is now. And this is a very important place. That's in Ecclesiastes out of the Bible. 1:9, that which has been is that which will be, and that which is done is what will be done, and there's nothing new under the sun. Everybody with me? Vertical. I am healed in this moment. I am this, I am that. Everything is here, but it's played out like this in vertical time. So whatever I focus on is the station I bring in. So when I hear that in metaphysics, that what you focus on, you give power to. What you think about, you give power to. The power of the observer. To observe something gives power to something in which it is observed. There's no difference in that than changing the frequency of the show. I picked up some show yesterday, and it was a Japanese version of Jaws, I guess. And oh my God, it just grabbed me because I was feeling this fear about this big old shark and all this. And I thought, I don't want to watch this, but I couldn't help myself. I was like stuck on that station. And finally, I came to myself enough to just push that button and get rid of it. But I really didn't get rid of it. I just got rid of it from me because I was no longer in the frequency to observe that movie. I didn't go into that movie and say, all right, let's get rid of the shark. Let the shark be the shark and do what sharks do, but I'm not going to be on this channel. I've got other options. Somebody hear me. You've got options today. If you're sick and physically need a healing, there's options. You don't have to stay on that channel and try to find out who can fix you when there is a duplicate of yourself already healed and perfect and whole on a different dimension. Professor Max Tegmark of the Department of Physics at MIT says, in infinite space, even the most unlikely events must take place somewhere. People with the same appearance, name, and memories as you who play out their possible life choices. In this class, you will learn to know your doppelganger, your twin self. You will learn how that in a universe only so many things can happen before they have to be repeated again in another universe. It says, could it be possible that as the creation of our universe began, that 90% disappeared into dark matter? How many of you know that? 90% of our universe itself cannot be visualized. 85 to 90% is called dark matter. And the reason it's called dark matter is because it's on different frequencies that we can't pick up on third dimension. My television is dark till I turn it on and give it a frequency. We don't find life on other planets because we're looking on the same third dimension frequency that we see on the earth and not realizing that other entities could actually exist on different frequencies that are not being picked up by those that's looking. They're on the wrong channel. Wow. Quantum science does not predict a single different outcome for an observation. Our previous viewpoints no longer have to be accepted as final outcomes. That's what I'll be talking on Wednesday night and giving you an intro to this. This was all started by a gentleman at 85 years old. A time, yes, this should be encouraging to all of us that are entering the great golden years. Golden years, oh my God. Golden years, yeah. Yeah. To give us encouragement that we must not give in to age in the body. We are so much more than that. We have been more than that before the body and will be more than that after the body. Life continues. Life happens. And there's no disruption to life. We live and we die, but life doesn't die. Living and death happens, but not life. Does not die. So I think this is a tremendous, exciting place to look. Even Charles Fillmore, when he received the 12 powers, which is one power. You know, unity says one power, and yet Charles Fillmore says 12 powers. No, he's teaching 12 manifestations of one power. He's not teaching 12 different powers. That's a misnomer. That should be corrected in unity as far as I'm concerned. The fact that we are realizing that the power cannot be put in one dimension. Nothing can be put in one dimension that is of spirit. That it has to unfold itself through many, many dimensions. So we're going to learn about the power of how we can get there through imagination. There'll be 6 weeks of different jumps. Jumps into health, jumps into prosperity, jumps into different weeks. Will be a different jump that I will lead you through meditation and through a process that we will learn. Bert Goldman, at 85 years old, had studied like most of us, done Reiki, done all the things that we've done here, just like every good metaphysician does. We're open to learn everything, anything that we can. And he had done that without really the success that he was looking for. And I'm not sure that we have found totally the success we're looking for either. But he came to a place when he stopped and began to look at this whole idea of quantum physics and to test it and see, is it true that there's possibly a duplicate self on other universes of myself? You know, in the Bible, Paul says, I knew a man who went into the third heaven. I thought that was interesting. Third heaven. Then I asked, wonder how many heavens there are. Heaven's just an elevated place in consciousness. That's all it is. But he knew of 3 heavens. Who knows how many places that we have access to. And I'll close with this. He just wanted so much to be an artist. He had no artistic ability whatsoever to do anything, and he decided to just do this meditation idea that he finally has made it worldwide, and jumping to a universe in which he was a most successful artist. And he did it, and he made it so real for himself and merged with the artist self that was successful until he finally brought that back with him and become a very successful artist. He wanted to write books, had no ability to be a writer, but jumped into a self that was a successful author. And on it goes. He's in his 90s today, and he's still successful, brilliant, because of this wonderful experience of learning how to do this quantum jumping techniques. So I wanted to offer this class to you for the next 6 weeks on quantum healing. I hope that you'll make a commitment to come out and be a part of it. It could change your life. No promises. It's not that I have the magic formula that works for you, but I have, like my grandmother, I can make you complete, but you have to be completed. You have to take what's given to you and work it in a way that you want it to happen. Now, if you're sitting here saying, that's just a bunch of baloney, I don't no more believe that, you are listening to your ego. The ego would not in any way want you to understand this whole principle that anything that ever was is, and everything that could be is now in this moment. But let's learn it more than just in new thought or metaphysical principle. Let's learn it in the very nature of life itself. This is my desire for this group, is that we learn how to manifest what we teach. That's what will make us the most different community, maybe on the planet, I don't know. But in Charlotte, is if we could become that, or I'd like to say, allow it to become me. I tried for most of my early life to please God. I wanted to do everything. I was young and my heart was so tender. I just loved God. I loved Jesus. I wanted to do everything that I could do to please them. And I kept failing, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed. And I remember as a young man reading the Bible, thou shalt pray without ceasing. And I tried it. I mean, that's how literalist I was. So I prayed. I played hooky. My folks left. I came home and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for the dog. I prayed for everybody. And then I'd fall asleep and I'd repent because I didn't, I felt guilty because I didn't pray again. I tried to pray again. And bottom line, it just didn't work out. So I did that on many things. I came up short on many things that made my ego feed on what it loves to feed ourselves, and that's guilt. Self-guilt. And I just want clear to all of us that creation is a finished work. I celebrate it today. That's where the celebration comes. That's where the praise comes. That's where the worship comes. It is the celebration of creation. But it's not enough. I need that which is to become what it is. That's why you were created. You were created for that which created you to become that which it is in us. Unfortunately, through free will, the human mind took a different direction of separation, and we made another world other than the world that had been created. We made it. And in that world, we made physical bodies so the ego could prove, I'm not you and you're not me. And there's nothing more that'll prove that than our identities based upon our physical body. Mother, father, husband, wife, children, aunt, uncle. Those are all labels that are put on you because of body. But you got to realize that before you were any bodies, anything based upon genetics and physical body, you were one in the mind of God as the only begotten child of God in the earth. That's the Christ that dwells within us today. And so it is. Amen.
Time to let your heart light